Hello and welcome to the video. So this video is going to go over the total amount that I spent for the last 12 months in 2022 living in my van and traveling around Australia. Now I do have some disclosures for this. When I say I was living in my van, there was 4.5 months in 2022 where I was house sitting for my sister. So technically I wasn't in my van, but I did drive across Australia to go and do that for her. So that will reflect in the figures. And the other thing was I also spent 4 months of that year in Tasmania, which is a very small island and not many places you can go. So I'll talk about that a bit more when I get into the expenses. Well, the other thing is this is a 53-week period because the way I do my budget is from Sunday to Saturday, and so this year fell into 53 weeks because it's not exactly 52 weeks in a year. But I do give you the weekly average so you'll always know what it was per week. All right, I have my trusty notebook here, so let's get started. All right, my total van life expenses for 2022, here we go. The first category is food, one of my biggest categories. Actually, food is the biggest category. So the total amount that I spent on food in 2022 was $6,276. That came out to an average of $118 a week. Now, when I was house sitting, I did eat out a lot, which I don't normally do. My budget for food is now $115 a week, but I was doing a lot of like sushi. I love sushi, and I did do a lot of sushi, and I was going out to eat a lot with family and friends. So my food was quite a bit last year. So we'll see how we go this year, but I started to eat out a bit more anyway, just occasionally. In 2021, I hardly ever ate out, but now I'm enjoying it, going out occasionally and letting someone else cook for me. My next category is supplements. So I do take a lot of vitamins, things like that. They help me, just with my everyday life. I supplement. I don't eat red meat, so I supplement there. I take vitamin D, I take fish oil. I do magnesium, helps me sleep, good for my muscles, multivitamins. So there's a few vitamins that I do take, and that came to a total of $864 for the year, or $16 a week. The next one is protein powder. So again, I don't eat red meat, and I do eat chicken and fish occasionally, but I don't eat it on a regular basis. So I do supplement with a plant-based protein powder pretty well 3 times a day. I enjoy it as well, but I just find it will help me maintain my muscle mass. I'm an older woman. So the total amount that I spent on protein powder in 2022 was $782 or $15 a week. The next category is what I call my spending category. So it's what doesn't fall into any of the other regular categories. So this will include things like buying clothes, buying tripods, gear for videoing. I bought a lot of art supplies this year. What else have I bought? I bought a microphone. Anything like that. Oh, puzzles. When I was house sitting, there was a lot of jigsaw puzzles. Also, if I've gone out to eat and I've shouted someone's meal, I've put their cost of their meal under my spending and not under my food. So that's got into my spending category. Oh, and there's a big one in spending, and that was trip to Tasmania. That was $995 just for the return trip to Tasmania. So my total spending for 2022 was $3,010, and that came out to $59 a week. So I actually have a budget of $50 a week for spending, so that definitely went over. But again, I was living in a house for 4 months, eating out a lot, buying stuff, which I don't normally do in my van life, so it was really interesting. My next category is for showers, laundry, and power. So I call it power because there's some places I go and you can plug in and make a donation to use their power, like at a community, a public site. And also sometimes I pay for just coin-operated showers, and laundry. That will be if I'm doing it at a caravan park or at a laundromat. This is where I do my laundry. The total for that was $203 and only $4 a week. That's one of my lowest expenses. So it's really $4 a week, very manageable that. My next expense is accommodation and camping. So accommodation would say like if I'm staying at a caravan park. Camping is I'm paying at a paid campsite, something like that. Those are the only 2 options that I pay for. I have never paid for a hotel or anything like that so far. So that came to a total of $1,297, and that averaged at $24 a week. So I did have a budget of $20 a week for this, but this year I've put it up to $40 because I feel like I might be doing a little bit more paid camping, especially as I travel through some states that don't have quite so much free camping as like West Australia and South Australia do. So I increased that budget to $40 a week, but last year $24 a week. The next category is a storage unit. So I did not sell all my worldly possessions. I did keep a lot of things that were important to me that I found were personal that I wasn't ready to get rid of, and I have a very small storage unit in Perth, West Australia, and that came to a total of $998 for the year and $19 a week. So that to me is worth it. It's definitely things in there that I did not want to part with. And I have culled it, and I'm really happy with what I have now, and I don't think that'll change for a while. Okay, another one that's a big expense is like my telephone, my internet, my email addresses. I have to pay for iCloud to upload the photos, anything like that, my VPN, anything like that that's sort of internet related, telephone related, I've put into one category. That came to a total of $2,685 for 2022. It's a big expense. That turned out to be $51 a week. And also, just a disclosure, I'm paying for my iPhone on part of the plan, and that finishes, I think I've only got 1 or 2 payments left. That finishes, I think, February or March. So that will be, I think, $70 a week, a month less. So we'll see how it goes, but I might buy another phone because it's really good for filming, and then I could have 2 phones, 2 cameras for filming. So I might be buying another one, we'll see. Okay, the next expense, which is the one that is most controversial. I'll explain to you what I mean by that. So the next one is petrol. So in the total for 2022, I spent $4,711 on petrol. And what's controversial, well, more interesting about it is in 2021, I spent almost the same amount on petrol, but I drove about another 6,000 kilometers more. So that just goes to show the cost, how much the cost of petrol has gone up. I got an extra 6,000 kilometers last year for the same dollar amount. Now, the one thing also that I want to point out is that I did make the trip across Australia, so like 4,000 kilometers, when the petrol was really high. It was high all over the world, and the petrol was really high. So that trip alone cost me $850. So that was almost a fifth of this. But the good thing is, when I got to West Australia and I was house sitting, I wasn't driving around so much, and I was able to recover that cost of driving across Australia. My petrol averaged out to $89 a week, which is well below my budget of $100 a week. So I was surprised to see that. We'll see how we go this year, but yeah, that came in really low for the weekly cost. Okay, the next regular expense I have is the registration for the van. So I actually pay that quarterly, every 3 months. It's around $200, and the total for the year was $882, and that came in at $17 a week. And also, just to explain, I know all the states around Australia are different, and I'm sure even around across the world they're different. So when I pay for my registration in Western Australia, it includes 50% of that is for third-party insurance. So if I injure somebody else, it's covered on my van registration. I have separate insurance for damage to the vehicles, but if anyone gets injured, it's covered on my registration. And that brings us to the next one, the van insurance. Now, my van insurance ended up going up last year because I had an accident. I hit a kangaroo early in the year, about at April, I hit a kangaroo, and it actually went up about $50 a month after that. I lost my no claim bonus. So the insurance has definitely gone up. My total for the year was $1,242, and that's averaged $23 a week. Van maintenance, so any work I've had done on the van, services, I've done quite a lot this year. I've had a couple of services. I had to replace all the drive belts. I had trouble driving through South Australia. I ended up having to replace a fuel filter. So my van maintenance was a bit higher this year, I think, than last year. It was $1,756 for the year, and that was $33 a week. I actually do budget $40 a week because I know it's an old van, things are going to go wrong. So it still came in under budget, but yeah, I definitely did fix a few things on the van this year. One of my most important expenses is my roadside assistance. That gives me peace of mind. If I break down, I can call and get help. So that came in at $337 and $6 a week. Okay, the next expense actually doesn't exist anymore. So I started off with the post office box, and I did cancel it middle of the year. So I don't have a post office box anymore. I just have all my mail go to my sister's house, or as much as I can by email, and when I'm out traveling, I just get it sent to a post office general delivery. So the cost I paid for 2022 for the post office box, $63 for the year, which averaged just over $1 for $1 a week. I do make regular donations to the World Wildlife Fund, just make $20 a month. That came out at $240 for the year, and it averaged of $5 a week. Next expense is my health. So I have health insurance, also my health expenses. So I am in Australia. If you're watching this from somewhere else, Australia has quite a good healthcare system. If I go to a doctor, mostly it's a bulk bill. I don't have to pay. Sometimes I might have to pay $20 or $30, that's all. But I also have health insurance, which covers things like my glasses, my teeth, my hormones, prescription. I think that's mostly the main things that it covers. I will be able to get hearing aids. So for that I've only paid $22 a fortnight, so it's really, really cost effective. And the total for the year for my health insurance and my health expenses, my out-of-pocket expenses, $1,076, and that averaged $20 a week. Very affordable for my peace of mind for my insurance. All right, the last two expenses relate to my travel buddy over here, the dog. So Abby also has insurance. I have insurance on her for the vet, so that when she goes to the vet, I will get a percentage back. And Abby has been to the vet this year. She ended up with an ear infection. It was actually an ear allergy, and it turned into an infection. So I got some of that back, and I do pay about $70 a month for her insurance. And there's things like her food, her worming tablets, heartworm, any new things she gets. She got some new collars this year, some new tags, leads. Anything that I buy for the dog goes into this category. To correct myself, it does not include insurance. The insurance is separate. So everything except for the insurance for Abby came to a total of $945 for the year. She's not too expensive this year. That averaged $18 a week. And then her insurance came to a total $864 for the year and $16 a week. All right, let's have the grand total. So the grand total for this year was $28,000. The grand total for this year was $28,331. Now I want to make a disclaimer that does not include the new MacBook Air that I just bought for myself in December. I didn't kind of include that. It's not really related to van life or anything, but that was $1,350. So I did buy a new computer. You could add that on. I didn't feel it was going to put it on. Interestingly, last year I spent $27,740, but last year only had 52 weeks. So when I took the average weekly from last year to this year, is only a $1 a week difference. That I'm really happy with. Now that I'm into my third year of doing van life, I can see the ebbs and flows with the expenses. So some states are more expensive than others. Obviously, if I'm doing a big trip across Australia, I'm going through a lot of money. So it's not consistently $535 a week. Didn't I tell you that? The average weekly was $535 a week. So it's not consistently. Some weeks will be a lot more, some weeks will be a lot less. But over the year, it's averaging out. So I've had the same for 2 years, which is reassuring that I can do that I can do this life on $535 a week. And I haven't really scrimped on much or anything. I've driven back and forth across the Nullarbor twice last year. You know, I stayed at caravan parks when I wanted to. I ate out when I wanted to, and it has all balanced out. So I'm aware of it though. I know if I've just spent a lot driving, I'm going to slow down for a couple of weeks while I recover that money and, you know, bring the bank balance back up. But yeah, anyway, they're my total expenses for 2022 for my van life. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you again on the next one. Bye everybody.